The following is a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and entertainment in Fairfield and Westchester counties.
Welcome to beautiful Waveny Park in New Canaan for the final regular cross-country meet of the 2015 FCIAC fall season, live on the HAN Network. Along with Dave Stewart, I'm Josh Fisher. Today we will see Trinity Catholic, Westhill, Norwalk, Bridgeport Central, and New Canaan compete in 3 races as the schools prepare for next week's FCIAC Championships, which will be held right here at Waveny Park. We'll have that meet live next week as HAN kicks off its FCIAC Championship coverage, which will include cross-country, boys and girls soccer, field hockey, volleyball, and the FCIAC Football Championship. But today we'll be focusing on the boys and girls running for these 5 FCIAC schools. The New Canaan boys come into today's meet with the best record among these teams. The Rams are 9-7 and in 3rd place in the FCIAC East Division, behind Darien and Ward, who are both 12-1 on the year. The rest of the school's boys cross-country teams find themselves in the back of the pack of both FCIAC boys divisions. Norwalk is in the next to last place. In the East Division, with a 2-10 record, Trinity is still looking for its first win of the season, as the Crusaders are 0-16. Central is 1-11 and in next to last place in the FCIAC West Division, while Westhill is also looking for its first win. The Vikings are 0-12 on the season. On the girls' side, New Canaan has the best record of these 5 schools. The Rams are 9-7 and in 5th place in the FCIAC East Division. The other 4 schools' girls' teams are all looking for their first win of the season today. Norwalk and Central are both 0-11 this season. Norwalk is tied for last place in the East, and Central is tied for last in the West. The Westhill girls are 0-15 this season, and the Trinity girls are 0-15. Well, next Wednesday at 2 p.m., we'll see the county's top runners live on the HAN Network. Today we have a chance to see 5 programs looking to end the 2015 regular season on a high note. With me is Dave Stewart, the sports editor of HAN's New Canaan Advertiser. Dave also runs the FCIAC.net website and has covered many meets at this gorgeous New Canaan Park off South Avenue, just north of the Darien line. What makes Waveny such a great place for these races, Dave?
It's just a nice it's a nice park. It's a great great course, just very scenic, and it's pretty much legendary.
It really is. It's we got here earlier today, as we always do for these broadcasts. This is our first cross country broadcast too. So, and a beautiful October day, not a bad place to work.
No, it's great. It's great. It's the leaves are going to start changing, or are starting changing now, but hasn't gotten into full bloom yet. But once it does, it'll be great.
Right, should be great next week. We'll see a little bit more color in the trees. Eric Genren, our director today, will be providing you with some amazing shots over this gorgeous property here in New Canaan. As you can see on your screen right now, some of the novice runners, they're called. It's kind of like JV.
They'll have like a JV race, a novice race, just like they do with the FCIAC Championships. They have freshman races, novice races, and then the varsity races, which is the main event, of course.
Okay.
And that'll follow.
So you'll see Westhill is in purple, Central is in red, that's Trinity in green. You'll see New Canaan runners will also be wearing red today. They actually have, the boys at least have a white top with black shorts.
Yes, that's usually the way they run.
And then Norwalk also wears green. The green and white are the Bears colors.
That's the Bears,
that's right? Yeah,
that's it.
Green's very Bear color.
Very appropriate.
As you see a couple Norwalk runners making their way to the starting line for the novice race. After the novice race, which is about a mile and a half, we will then have the girls will take off at about 4:45, we're told, and the boys then take off about 5:15. After they finish the races, we'll be having some of the runners over here to join us to talk. Dave and I right now are camped out. You can't really tell on your screen because of our lovely backdrops here, but we are in the little side pavilion, little porch over here at Waveny House.
Overlooking the park and the race course. They'll cut in front of us a couple of times. Actually, for the finish, they'll come right up to our right.
That's great. We'll have a great view. It was raining a little bit earlier today, but that rain passed about a half hour ago, and We are set for our first cross-country race. Bear with us today, as this is our first time covering cross-country on the HAN Network. You've certainly seen a lot of field hockey, a lot of soccer, and definitely a lot of football. And this week we'll see one of these football teams playing. On Friday we're going to be at Ridgefield, where the Tigers will take on Trinity Crusaders. Both teams are 2-1. Rob Adams will be back behind the mic for that, along with Chris Irway. Our pregame coverage starts that day at 4. On live.han.network, and kickoff is at 7 p.m. from Tiger Hollow. That place should look gorgeous too, with all the leaves.
Should be. Hopefully the towers work. Cell towers work.
Cell tower. We're anxiously awaiting to see if the cell tower is turned on. For that, we've seen it up there on the ridge across the way from Tiger Hollow, and we're told October 9th.
It's teasing everyone at this point.
It just is laughing at everyone from that ridge. This is also senior day, since this is the last home beat for New Canaan. And do they have an advantage, you think, because this is one of the top spots to run, certainly in the league?
Well, they're more familiar. It's their backyard, although they do use a different course for the FCIAC championship. They start over by the water tower and cut across. There's just too many people to have them start on the hill next to the Waveny Castle.
So that's why they move it over there?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. It's actually pretty majestic with everybody coming running right at you. You know, you've got 17 teams. Not everybody has runners in it, but you're probably looking at about 150 kids or so. And it really looks something to have them come running down, and they funnel across the road in the middle of the park.
See, right now we are just not to interrupt you, but we are broadcasting via Periscope. Mobile. It's Marty Hersom is using his iPhone right now to send these images to Eric Gendron, our director. Kind of neat as the novice race prepares to start.
Where's the drone?
Well, I don't. The drone might be coming out a little bit later too. There's so much we have here at the HAN Network to use. Sometimes a little bit gets set aside, as Periscope is our newest toy.
Eric does get overwhelmed.
Yeah, Eric gets a little overwhelmed over there with with all of these different contraptions that he could use. Jay Egan, the New Canaan Athletic Director, has a microphone in his hand and is getting ready to start the novice race, which should probably take about 10-15 minutes or so, right?
I would think, yeah. It's a shorter race, so it does go a little bit quicker.
Mile and a half. Jay is getting ready to start. Those are the Trinity Crusaders closest to our Periscope camera. The beautiful skies. Dave and I worked for years together at the New Canaan Advertiser, and Dave always had some amazing pictures during the events here.
It's a very picturesque sport. It's gorgeous, especially in a place like this. It's even on some of the shorter courses, the courses that aren't as well known. You can usually get some pretty majestic shots of some of the runners.
Must be a great place to run for them, and we're looking forward to talking to some of the athletes as they come into the finish. We are now getting ready to start this novice race.
And that looks like it's New Canaan boys head coach Bill Martin, used to coach over at Norwalk, who will be in what I like to call the pace car. So when they follow, it kind of leads the run. They head the runners around the course.
We need to get a GoPro or something camera on those. A little false start, it looks like, to start things off for some of the ladies. This is both the boys and the girls, I believe, are taking off here at the same time. And when I say I believe, that's because it's the first time of us covering cross country here, and they're off now. Right. As we're back to one of our regular high definition cameras. We got AJ Simonowski, Sean Saylor on cameras today. Kate Chaplitsky's over at the finish line.
Yeah, see,
help us out. Look at that beautiful shot there.
They'll cut down by Lapham Road. Kind of by Spencer's Dog Run there.
Oh yes, they'll run by the dog park. We were over there today. There was just one lonely dog sitting in the dog park. We were stopped by Lapham Community Center.
It's not the dog days anymore.
No, it looked like he had the place all to himself. He didn't seem to bother him much.
He rented it. Pay extra for that.
As you can see, some of the trees have started to change, and anyone, of course, who's been driving around Connecticut lately, as noticed that as we've gotten some vibrant reds and yellows and oranges popping out.
You see, this is what happens with the races too. You tend to see them start to break up after the first, couple of 100 yards. You got a big group of runners, and they kind of jockey for position. Some of them like to run at the front, some like to run in the back. They're not so far in the back,
right?
But, with some runners in front of them, but. They kind of start to break up and become more of a line.
Right, and these team competitions, it's always interesting to see which of the teams like to travel in the beginning as a group and work together, and which ones maybe will let some of their best runners go run out there as they move around the race. But that pack running can come in very handy, and then you make your move at toward the end. And we'll certainly see some of that when we get to the big races
that
later
also helps
today
too, because they know their pace, and if they're running together in a group like that, they know their pace, they know what they're doing, and they're not overexerting themselves or
they can encourage each other.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So they're rolling around now. Unfortunately, you're stuck looking at me and Dave. Look for the runners off there in the distance as
they're going along Lapham Road now, down by the far entrance of the park.
And by next year, as the HAN network continues to grow, I'm sure we'll have cameras throughout the entire course.
It'll be interesting too with the water, with the rain from earlier. It wasn't that heavy, but it did come down for a few minutes anyway. Back by the tree line on the far side, and inside in the woods there where they do run, it does get a little bit. It can get a little bit muddy, and it doesn't dry up as quick because it's not exposed to everything, and it doesn't get the sun. The starting line and everything, when it did get wet, it's probably fairly dry at this point.
Yeah, the sun, as for the past 20 minutes or so, or maybe even a little bit longer, after it rained, it really kind of came out. It got almost a little steamy for this fall day here. As you know, all around Connecticut, it's been unseasonably warm throughout this fall.
It was a little humid earlier too, and then the rain kind of broke things up a little bit. Because now it feels nice.
As we see some of the lead runners make the turn back up here toward Waveny House and toward the finish line, and they're gonna do, it's 2 loops, right, Eric? Coming through. So we see a group of New Canaan runners in the lead with this novice race. Still to come, the girls, followed by the boys. And next week, we start our first FCIAC championships. It's hard to believe the HA Network started its official coverage of, the HA Network started its official coverage of the FCIAC back in early September, and we're almost done with the fall season.
I know. Well, cross country goes quicker than everything else.
Right, that's the first one.
Yeah, and you're gonna have state meets next week, state class meets up at Wickham Park, which they just had the Wickham Park Invitational, and New Canaan did run in that. Actually, did very well. The girls finished third in what they call the unseeded varsity race, and the boys, the boys finished third, and the girls finished fourth, and. I know I believe Staples records were up there. Staples got a very strong team, very strong program over there with head coach Laddie Lawrence. And Wickham is a little different. It's in Manchester, and it's very hilly, and if it does rain, it can get extremely muddy up there. And it's a difficult course to navigate if you're not used to hills and up and downs and things like that. Whereas this has a couple of hills and a couple of long stretches, but it's a little bit flatter. Right.
Yeah, New Canaan is not, particularly this part of New Canaan, which is southern New Canaan. I mean, you could walk to Darien here in a couple from here in a couple minutes. It's not as hilly as northern New Canaan is, where you get up more towards Lewisboro than into Ridgefield. Remember, Darien is at sea level. As you go down 124, it becomes South Avenue, becomes Mansfield Avenue, just past Waveny Park here.
And Darien's got another strong team this year too. They're another team that's going to be in the mix. You'll see some of their.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun next week to see that, and also it will be a pay-per-view event. Part of HA Network's deal with the FCIAC is that the postseason are pay-per-view, and that and part of that money that we charge. It's going to just be $5 for the cross country meet for people to watch that live, and then after 72 hours we'll open it up and to everybody for free. But for $5 you'll be able to watch it live, which could be a lot of fun too for the spectators who are here. At the meet.
You can see it you can watch it on your phone. You can watch it mobily. I know John Kutzo has been watching stuff on his phone. Executive Secretary of the FCIAC, very excited about the whole thing and being able to see some of these meets.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to be able to watch it. I was a little under the weather yesterday and watched the boys soccer game that we covered, which was Ludlow hosting Norwalk. I watched that from home, put on the Chromecast, threw it up on the TV in the living room. It looked great, full HD.
It's getting some closer matches too, which is nice because early on we were kind of the home of the route. So
well, boys soccer has been pretty good to us. We've only had one boys soccer game that was decided by more than one goal, but football. And last week we had a good football game in Danbury. Stanford ended up running away with it, but it was tied at halftime.
Yeah,
first time we've seen that.
They just wore them down at that point. It was 19-19, and then Terrell Diaz just took over and scored 2 touchdowns late. He's a big load to bring down.
Oh, he is, but that was good. And this Saturday we're going to have as AJ Simonowski waves to us, and I don't know if he's trying to John Kovac us or what, but here come the leaders are working their way up around the bend in the final loop.
Yeah, this straightaway here is where they'll finish.
Okay, as
coming
you can
up right
see,
by the yellow flag.
We do have Marty Hersum's Periscope feed up there, ready as we await. You can see the lead, the chase car.
Yeah, this is actually a very cool shot in here too. This area going down by the tree line, because you do get the light coming in from the right, from the side like that, so you get a cool effect there. I've taken a lot of photos down in that area.
Oh, it certainly looks familiar, and anyone who's familiar with Waveny Park knows they got the tall grass and some walking paths that lead down to those beautiful trails back there. And this is just such a amazing facility. There's so much here, along with the dog park and the Lapham Community Center, which serves as the senior center here. You have Waveny House, which is a host to many weddings, and I had my prom here, Dave.
Yes. As we were talking about Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, Christopher Lloyd used to live
summer
here, right?
Yeah. So Ruth Lapham Lloyd was his, I believe, his aunt.
He hit his head after in the bathroom, and that's when he first thought of the flux capacitor. Was here at Waveny House. As we see some of the leaders make their way across this stretch, and we'll be able to see them coming up. Also, right now, some of the girls are making their way towards the starting line for the girls' race, which will be longer than this novice race that we have coming up.
I guess you could say they don't need roads.
So
on that note,
no, that was good. As Eric Gendron mentioned too, that Back to the Future prophecy. If the Cubs were to win the World Series, they won't do it over Miami, but that was predicted in Back to the Future too. Way back when, but there wasn't a Miami team back when Back to the Future 2 was made, and there is one now.
What's interesting, Eric Gendron joining you here. Can you guys?
We can't hear you, but go ahead, Eric.
What's also interesting, in the year 1985, the ALCS was the Blue Jays versus the Royals. So.
Oh, that's right.
So adding to all the Back to the Future.
He's a font of useless information.
Yes.
But if I could just interject, guys, real quick here.
Please.
Behind the controls. This is the first time we've utilized Periscope, and I got to say it's really cool to be able to add this into the broadcast and getting to see all these faces. I mean, a lot of these people who come and watch these cross-country meets, you sit at one point, you can't see the whole thing. So it is really cool to be able to see so many of these kids, student athletes. And I believe we just had our first finisher there.
Can we go over to the finish line? Do we have
Well, it's interesting to watch the spectators at these events, too, because you'll see, especially with the FCIAC championships, you'll see people will set up in one spot, and then as the runners go by them and move to another part of the course, you'll see everybody will go to a close spot where they're going to be coming through later. So you see this mass migration of people moving from one spot to the next and setting up camp. Usually they're based up and around here and down by the finish line, which is over at the end over here.
Right. So some of the novice runners finishing up the first race, Eric.
Yeah, we just got word that Julian Mastriani is the first place winner of the novice race today.
Do you know that's of New Canaan?
I believe it was New Canaan. I will double check on that. And Julian will be up to join Dave and Josh momentarily after his first place finish.
Excellent. Julian, a sophomore for the Rams. He was on his way over here right now to be our first in-meet cross-country guest on the HAN network. And some of the girls now are getting ready, stretching over there at the starting line as the rest of the novice runners finish up. Under 10 minutes for the leaders. We're a little over, as you can see on that clock there, 12 minutes into the race. We welcome over Julian, get him set up with a headset here.
Let you get in the middle here.
Julian, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Out of breath?
Yeah, I'm out of breath.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
won the last regular season meet here in New Canaan. How'd the race go for you?
Oh, it was tiring. It was. I think it was 2.8 miles. It was tough. But I just kept pushing.
It got a little humid here today, right?
It was just raining a little while ago.
So, what's the hardest part about this course?
Probably the Mosley, which is the hill.
The last hill there, coming up there?
That's tough.
Named after Coach Mosley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Dave?
That's perfect, right? Tell me about you're going to have the FCIAC championships here next week.
Yeah.
Just how big a meet is that going to be for you first time running in that?
Oh, that's going to be huge. Yeah, this is my first year, and I hear a lot of kids like it's tough, but hopefully we'll do well.
You like your team this year? I mean, there's a couple of guys who stand out, but there's a lot of guys who are kind of in the middle who can make an impact.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of kids on junior varsity they're going to probably step up to varsity next year. Mm-hmm. So I think we're a pretty good team.
Good job.
That's great. Well, Julia, congratulations
on
winning this. Thanks for joining us on the HAN Network, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thanks, Julian. Eric, I think we'll do a quick break here and then come back with the girls on their final. It's senior day here at Waveny Park for the New Canaan Rams, and we have Trinity, Norwalk, Westhill, and Bridgeport Central. A few of those schools making their debut right here on the HAN Network as we are live at Waveny Park in beautiful New Canaan, Connecticut. We'll be back after this.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
The fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait in the Long Island Sound. This is the time to visit the New England coast, and the Dock Shop can get you outfitted with the latest fishing gear, jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece. Boater, beach bum, fishermen simply love the New England coast. This is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Remind you of the experience stress-free waters at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and find out how easy buying a car really is.
Welcome back to Waveny Park Country Meet in the FCIAC. Along with Dave Stewart, I'm Josh Fisher, Eric Gendron directing. You can see some of the New Canaan Rams girls getting ready for their race. We just finished the novice race, won by Julian Mastrioni, who just joined Dave and me. And then Noah Levine finished second. We were unclear on who finished third, but couple nice start off for New Canaan at this meet. Two more races to go.
They have a lot of numbers this year, but they it's getting those elite runners. They have a couple of people who can do some things, and the girls and the boys. With the boys, they've had Michael St. George, Jr., and Alex Urban, and Aiden Buck, who's a senior, who've been pretty solid for them. And for the girls, you've got Callie Brandon, who was a freshman last year, actually finished just outside the all FCIAC first team. Drew Davis has actually been running very good this year. She's been their lead runner. And Amanda Dobbin, who's a captain, has been doing very well too. So they have a few runners at the top. I wouldn't categorize any of them as elite at this point, but they could get there.
Well, that's certainly fun. I know we've been looking forward for a little while to come here to Waveny Park. And not just because it's a beautiful place to spend a lovely fall day, but to cover cross-country, to add now a fourth sport to our fall season. For, of course, doing football, boys and girls soccer, and field hockey. Our plan, too, is to do the volleyball championship, too, for the FCIAC this season, which should be fun.
Yeah, track and cross-country are more of a tremendous undertaking because they're more widespread, more there's more ground to cover and everything.
And certainly for us with our cameras, it's always a lot easier if you have a nice rectangle to shoot at, where you know everything's going to stay in. Baseball and cross country certainly add different things to it because. But we're having a lot of fun. Eric Gendron is doing a great job directing and leading us throughout this inaugural season for the HAN network. Throughout the FCIAC, we've learned more about different facilities and sports and people than I necessarily thought we ever would. As you see, Jay Egan, the longtime athletic director of New Canaan, who just wandered in front of our screen.
Former cross-country and track coach here for the girls.
That's right. So he certainly knows what he's doing out here, and he's been a great help, as he always is, to the HAN network.
When he was with the track program, they won 5 FCIAC championships in a row.
Wow.
For indoor track. So it's going back a little ways, but he's done very well.
Well, the girls are getting set. Jay is on the mic right now to do the start. So the girls will do one loop around. It's a longer course than the novice course that we just saw. As you see our periscope shot from behind.
4,000 meters for the girls here, 4K.
4K. The boys do a 5K, I believe.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
And they're off. See, you see, they're even starting here off with a little bit of a steadier pace than we saw with the novice racers. The New Canaan girls, their pack is out to the lead there. A lot more runners for New Canaan, this being their home match. They're followed there by some of the Norwalk girls and the Central girls.
A lot of these girls will be running in the novice races, the freshman races next week.
At
they
the
do limit the lineup to, I believe, eight runners, 5 count in the scoring.
That's right. Okay.
And, everybody's time counts in the individual standings.
But let's do that, Dave. Let's talk a little bit too about how they score cross country matches, right? So it's for each. If you finish it, you want to have a lower score, like in golf.
Yes. Yeah. And what they do is they kind of they match it out. In other words, they will do New Canaan's finishes versus Norwalk.
Okay,
and then
right.
they also take the New Canaan finishes versus Westhill. And, so you could have, if somebody finishes 5th overall, they could actually be 2nd for a particular team. Because you could have, if you had a New Canaan runner finish 1st and a Norwalk runner finish 5th, and say the 3 in the middle were Westhill runners, then the Norwalk finisher would get 2 points.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they seed it out head-to-head like dual meets.
So so with Westhill and Trinity both coming in with 0-16 records, one of them could get a win today, right? One of them will.
I believe Trinity doesn't have enough to score.
I'm
not sure. I saw that there might have been about 4 or 5 runners out there. Westhill has more runners on their roster. So
the top 5 finishes count towards your points, and those are all added up.
And those are all added up to get your final score.
So, if you have a first-place finisher and a third-place finisher, that would be 4 points plus the total of the other ones. So the lowest total gives you your team a win.
Exactly. And it's all done head-to-head that way. That way, if you had a meet with, like, say, Staples and Ridgefield girls in it, who are both very good, they wouldn't be penalizing each other versus other teams.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Or other teams versus other teams that were further.
So then, how do they decide who gets to run in the FCIAC championships next week?
The lineups are done by coaches. So the coaches can pick who they're going to run. They have 8 slots, and they're usually obviously going to pick their 8 best runners.
Right.
Sometimes you'll see if there's like if there's a close pick, say your 7th and 8th runners, who do you want to run in that spot? And there's a younger kid who's doing well, but there's a senior who's close to him and been around for a few years. They might get a reward and get to run in that meet.
So then after that, after the FCIAC championships, then there's the states, right? There's 2 different races, right?
State class meets. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, which is done by size. Then there's the state open, which they're both at Wickham Park back-to-back weeks. And then they do the New Englands.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which I believe, I could be mistaken, they're up in Massachusetts.
So who are the favorite schools coming into next week's FCIAC championship?
Well, there's a lot. You got Staples has a great team. Ridgefield girls are doing very, very well this year. Danbury's always in the mix with that. Darien always has a few good runners. So it's an interesting meet in that one you do added up total versus each other. So it's not head to head versus anybody. It's
just the total.
They're totaling everything up.
Like you see in the Olympics.
Yes, exactly.
Which is something that most people are familiar with, I think, when it comes to big races like this.
And it's going to be interesting, too, because you've got it'll be the last FCIAC championship for Staples senior Hannah DeBalzi, who has just been as an incredible runner. She has the FCIAC record 2 years ago, 13:29, and then last year she ran 13:37, and she won by over a minute last year. So
wow,
she's one
which
that
is rare.
She's one that could pass that pace card. So. But she's a state class champion, state open, New England champion too. She's just an incredible runner.
Yeah. So right now we see off in the distance. Our cameras probably don't see it, but before where the novice runners had hung a hard left to come back up towards Waveny House where we're standing, the girls are going to continue on around, and they're going to go back into the trails.
It's like a wooded area, trail area there at Waveny Park. And
you can see them kind of off to the left, right above that man who's standing there with his hands on his hips. You can see some of the girls running off there beyond that tall grass into the trails back there.
That's where sometimes if there's rain, it could get muddy, and that's what we were talking about earlier with the rain earlier today. You don't know how it affected it back there. It hasn't really been too bad. It rained last Friday, obviously, but it hasn't been too bad lately.
Well, and the rain that we had today, too, like we actually had kept one of our cameras underneath one of the oak trees here, and the rain wasn't hard enough to affect it. So you got to think that probably that tree-covered area is okay. Where it's going to probably be slippery is just next to the tree-covered area where there's shade.
This is true,
and the water didn't get a chance to dry. It probably rained for only about 25 minutes or so. So it wasn't a hard downpour at all.
No, not at all. It looked like it might get there at one point, but
no, we lucked out at that. It's like the anti-HAN luck where we got just a little sprinkle beforehand, and then these beautiful skies showed up, so that Eric Jendrick could really show off the beautiful colors here at Waveny. There's a shot of the finish line. There's our own Kate Chaplinsky standing all alone, waiting for some runners to come.
Standing with all their friends.
So, nice little HAN banner there hanging at the finish line. Here comes a nice family. Eric, we could just one day just set up some cameras here at Waveny Park and get some good images all day long on live.han.network. If you haven't checked out our new website yet, live.han.network, just type that into your browser. Pretty neat site, lots of great images. You can link to you can see the on-demand version of all of these games and matches that we've covered and now meets that we've covered.
Looks great. The layout looks great. The presentation looks great there.
Yeah, our digital department of Jenny Klein, Mario Recupito, and Maureen Leary did a great job with that, led by Tracy Ayeze, our IT director, who has done a tireless work of traveling around to every single site that we're at here to broadcast a game, to make sure that we're going to have the right connectivity, talking to endless numbers of officials at schools and towns, and we've had to lay a lot of Ethernet cords all over, whether it's across parking lots and across unused softball fields.
If I'm not mistaken, most of the FCIAC sites have been pretty accommodating.
Oh, everyone's been great, and particularly here at New Canaan. Dave Scholl's up at Ludlow has been amazing to us, at Staples. Everywhere we've been, the guys at Danbury were great. That was our first time making it up to the most northern section of the FCIAC,
Chip
up to Danbury.
Got us a ton of guests.
Oh, no, yeah. Chip Silvestri, the AD up there was great. Sterling, Eric, what's Sterling's last name up in Danbury?
That's right.
No, Sterling Miller. Sorry, I can't hear you with these on. He was great, the IT director up there at Danbury High School, and making sure we could broadcast that game, because the better connectivity we have, the higher the bandwidth, the better the quality picture is. And so we can get out there at full HD, so it'll look sharp. You can watch it on your TV at home, watch it on your computer, watch it on your phone, watch it on your iPad. So we now have a little group. We have a group of New Canaan runners gathered around our television screen here, checking it out as a lone dog walker makes it back up the field. There's Marty Hurst standing in the tall weeds. Probably not the first time that's been said before, as he prepares for the girls to make their run towards and get that periscope going. Wind has certainly picked up, and that could be something that certainly slows down a runner. So that's the reason why it's a good idea to run in a pack, so you can take turns, kind of drafting off of each other.
Yes, all the elements. That's the one thing about if you're a track athlete and you're a distance track athlete and you're running the mile or the 2 mile, you're running in a circle. You're running, it's just constant left turns. Almost like the Indy 500 and. When you're running out here, there's a lot of different factors to it. So it's kind of hard to judge times from one course to the next, or even at the same course on different days. If you get a nice dry day with no wind, nothing, but it's still cool, your time's going to be one thing. If you're running in the mud and the rain, it's going to be something else. If it's a hot day, all those things affect it a little bit more than the track.
Right, like comparing the Boston Marathon to the New York Marathon. There's a lot more hills in Boston than there Park, so those times are not exactly comparable.
Yeah, you can't. The distance might be the same, but the times you can't really judge. I was going through some of the times on clubconnecticut.org, which has a lot of the results up for cross country for years. And you see times somebody runs on one track, and it's very different from what it was on another course. And same runners, same kind of conditions, but the course is just such that it doesn't play to that person's strengths.
Right, and exactly. So you have some runners who are better with the hills, and some who are better, obviously, at the flat spaces. Some who are better on a little uneven terrain, and that all comes into play.
Then you have the people like last year's champions, like Alex Osberg of Darien, who's now at Stanford, and Spencer Brown of Wilton, who's now at Georgetown, and they can run in any conditions at any time and beat just about anybody.
The All-Stars.
They're the All-Stars. They're the elite runners.
So we're still waiting for the girls to make their way out of the woods and into the open here at Waveny Park. And we do have our cameraman on the move down there with his iPhone 6. Marty Hurst. I'm disappointed he has not got an iPhone 6S yet.
That's next. Does he have the watch?
There he is. There's his view. I mean, that's just gorgeous, though. And, well, it'd be nice to see some runners running through there. That just gives you a little taste. If you haven't been to Waveny Park before, the gorgeous type of setting, and as the sun starts to go down right now, it just looks absolutely beautiful here. You
can get some great shots shooting into the sun, just a little bit into the sun, with some silhouette shots of the different runners, and that can make some unique shots here. I've seen photographers do some incredible things and I've been up here a lot of times that just, things that I haven't thought of.
And there's a reason why this is one of the most popular spots for weddings in Lower Fairfield County, because just for the wedding photos that you get. I attended one wedding here years ago over there at the Sunken Garden next to Waveny House, and the reception was here in Waveny House, and it was a spring wedding, but just a gorgeous place to be.
So you can't beat it for photography too. You just can't beat it.
And on a clear night here, it just is also just a beautiful place out here on the back patio pavilion, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the official terminology for that, Dave.
And New Canaan also plays softball over.
Oh, that's right.
Behind us here, and they're also talking about putting baseball fields in. So there is a baseball field way down in the corner. It's not the varsity field, but they're talking about putting in a varsity baseball field here too.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things here, like we mentioned before. The Lapham Community Center, which is the senior center, is here. Spencer's Run, which is the dog park. The Recreation Department of New Canaan has their offices here in Waveny House.
There's a pool.
That's right. The town pool is here.
Town pool is awesome over there.
So there's Waveny Care Center is on the border here. It's not a town property, but it's abuts the property here. And as we have to move over, make sure. Got to keep Eric happy over there.
Yeah, he gets angry.
Otherwise, he changes what's written underneath us here. So you don't want that to. As we vamp and wait for the runners to reemerge.
The other thing is, too, with the FCIAC championship coming up, you've got the FCIAC is known for having some of the top runners in the state. There's so much depth there. Runners who might finish in the top 10 in other races may not make the top 20 in the FCIAC. And, it's just really high stakes competition, very high, a lot of elite runners. People go on to college and run track and cross country. It's really a lot of fun to watch, not just because of the layout of the course or the park itself, but because of the great runners we have here.
So why do you think the FCIAC has better runners?
I just think I cover the FCIAC, so I'm a little biased, but the athletes in general, the FCIAC tends to do very, very well when it comes to state tournaments, and you see that play out year after year, and I just believe the athletes here are better trained and better, more conducive. That they get more out of themselves than that than they might in some other areas.
So as we saw before, now we have some of the boys, the varsity athletes from the various schools are making their way to the starting line. That race is scheduled to start in still about a half hour away or so. They said, although it could be 50 minutes, they said it was going to start between 5 and 5:15. right now, if you're watching live, is 4:46 p.m.
And now they're coming out of the woods.
Here they
you can
come.
See them at the bottom.
Looks like 3 New Canaan runners, at least 3, if not 4, are leading the way. And now into the tall grass. As you can see, cut off the distance, there's that chase car making its way. And now you see, followed by them, is the leaders of the race. So when they get towards the end, and you're on the same team, so as these New Canaan runners get toward the end, if they continue to hold the lead that they have here, do they decide who gets to win, or does it then just become whoever has it to make it to the end?
I think it's probably whoever has it, although it depends on how competitive you are, I'm sure.
Like it's senior day, if one of the senior want to maybe let her get through.
You'll see some of the top runners will really, really want to be the one to win. And
of course.
There have been runners, I know, Spencer Lyman and Alex Ellsworth. That looks like Drew Davis and Callie Brannon there. And that's Amanda Dobbin there. She's a senior captain. They've been running kind of like that all year, where Drew Davis has been their lead runner, but Callie Brannon, again, she finished 16th in the FCIAC as a freshman last year, which is great. So that's a promising start for her. See if she can keep that up.
And look at the quite a lead here, as it looks like it's going to be a two-way race. Although now, who is this taking the lead here?
Drew Davis pulling away there,
and she is really pulling away.
She's got a lot of kick left.
So Drew Davis making her way toward the finish line. As we can at least hear the crowd starting to cheer. Getting cheered on too by some of our male athletes, and there goes Davis making her way to the finish line, and she will be the winner of the girls' meet here at Waveny Park. She really pulled away there
and we got
at the end.
Brannon right behind her, and now Dominance coming across there. We've got another group of New Canaan runners coming in here.
So Callie Brannon finishes second. Amanda Dobbin, senior captain on senior day, finishes third. Brandon's a sophomore. Davis is a junior. So things have to be looking up for the New Canaan Rams going into the next season, right?
It's a good way to finish. It depends on how many people stick with it. Like there is a lot of training involved, especially in cross country. I've talked to Art Brown, the girls coach, and Bill Martin, the boys coach, and it's such a fast season that if you're not doing the training ahead of time over the summer,
right?
Maybe running some in the spring and just to get prepared. If you go into the season, the beginning of the season, trying to get ready, then it's going to be very difficult to get ready for. I mean, we're talking about next week. It'll be the 21st of October. It's a month and a half after the season started. Not even a month and a half. So it's a very fast season, and if you're not preparing early before
if you're not spending the summer training,
you've got to do at least some things in the summer. Some people really get dedicated and do a lot of things. Others don't, and you can really tell the difference, especially at the beginning of the FCIAC season. By the end, a lot of people have had some races in, but still, if you put yourself behind the 8 ball at the beginning, then you're
all right. Look at that gorgeous shot there. Now, Dave, when I was in high school, we saw a lot of the kids who joined cross country they played other sports, maybe winter or spring sports, but they did it as a good way to stay in shape and to train. Is it that still happen, or is it more of a specialized sport nowadays?
There's a little bit of that. If you're not playing a fall sport and you're playing something else, one of the best athletes at New Canaan High School, Olivia Hump,
yes,
joined the cross country team as a senior to run, and she actually made the All FCIAC second team. She was, she was.
Olivia Hump ended up being good at pretty much everything that she did,
could
right?
Probably do anything she wanted and excel at it. So she's at Princeton now playing lacrosse.
What is she, a junior now?
She is. I believe she's a sophomore.
Okay.
Could be a junior.
I know she was. Her name was throughout headlines as some of the throughout the New Canaan Advertiser for years. It looks like some of the Central runners are making the boys are making their way towards the start line.
Westhill's over there, and Norwalk's been over there for quite a while.
Yeah,
now.
Norwalk got there early. Westhill in purple. You can see them off to the left there. Central in red. we still wait for some of the. Here comes the larger pack of girls making their way up the final little. It looks like it's not that much of an incline, but it actually is a long little steady incline, which can't be the easiest thing at the end of a race.
It's got to be brutal at the end because you're not a steep, but you must always feel like you're getting there, and you're not. It just seems to extend. You're like you're running down an endless tunnel there, and it doesn't really flatten out at all towards the top.
No, it's kind of a continued steady climb. Now, I know we're trying to get some people, if we want to do a couple different interviews, Eric and Kate, to talk off camera, but I think that'd be okay. The Wireless, we could do a couple separate interviews. As Kate Chaplitzky helps us out and gets Drew Davis set up with the headset. Hey, Drew, how are you? Why don't you come here and stand right here between Dave and me? There we go. All right, let's just set this up.
There you go.
All right.
Hey.
We're joined now by junior Drew Davis, who won today's meet. Congratulations, Drew. How you feel?
Good. I'm a little tired right now. But
Sure.
But I'm good.
We were just talking about that. You know, if you kind of look at it, it doesn't look that bad, but that's a steady, long incline getting up to the finish line. But you really pulled away what you got up there.
Yeah, well, like I usually try to kick right after the hill, like when it clears. But yeah, it's a tough hill because it's so underestimated. It's just so long, and you don't want to do it at the end of a race. So.
Right.
Now you're running with Callie and Amanda for most of the race. You guys are kind of grouped up. How does that help you?
It was nice. Amanda was cheering us on the whole time. We were kind of just got into the rhythm of running with each other, and it was really nice.
I know it's a different course, but tell me about the FCIAC championship next week.
Well, yeah, the FCIAC is a little harder than this course, I think. But yeah, it's here. I'm really excited for it because there's a lot of good teams, and I'm excited to be really competitive against them and kind of see where I stand in that whole thing. So yeah.
Is it a little bit intimidating going up against some of those elite?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and so especially when you start, it's just a whole crowd goes to one area.
Yeah,
it's scary.
It can be a lot of fun. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you, Drew. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week at the FCIAC Championships. We'll be back here. Now we're going to bring on Callie, the younger of this trio of runners. Stand here, right. Be careful there. We don't want you to twist an ankle before next week's championship.
Or not the week before the championship.
Callie Brandon, a sophomore, finished second here in today's race. How do you feel now?
Good, yeah. It was a strong race. We ran together, which is really nice. Bit tired right now, but I'll come back.
How does it feel? You guys have probably one of the best looking courses throughout the state. How does it feel that's your home course?
It's so nice, especially seeing as we get to train on it every day. But so it'll be good.
Sometimes it helps not knowing not knowing as much about it, right?
That's true.
How does it feel for a final tune-up today too, being able to running with these two and doing it pretty good?
It was a great last race. We obviously swept the race, and it was nice to be running with such great teammates. So it was really nice. Good boost of confidence for next week.
Good to go out with a win, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Well, thanks, Callie, for joining us today. And now we're going to bring on the senior, Amanda Dobbin, senior and captain, on senior day.
Here you go.
Here at Waveny. And I know, Amanda, we talked to you when we visited the school before the season.
Yes,
it seems like just yesterday, at least for us it does. How do you feel now that this is your final regular season meet as a senior, as a captain? Any emotion today?
I'm pretty sad, actually. Cross country has always been my favorite sport, and it's really nice being captain the last season and stepping up for the team and stepping up for the girls, but it's really sad because I'm really going to miss it when I go to college next year.
Yeah, I'm sure. And how does it feel to have some younger runners who are, you three led this race rather well, and how does it feel to be a senior and to be cheering on your teammates?
It feels great. I really try to step forth my best effort, but I know that those two are amazing, and I always try to encourage them to go on and actually do their best and put everything into the race, because that's why we're here.
That's right.
As a captain, what you've seen on the team the last few years, how has it changed?
How the team has
seems like a lot of numbers. You've got good numbers now.
Yeah, we've been getting very good, like incoming freshmen and sophomores and juniors have been improving a lot. So the seasons definitely get better year by year, and I hope just next year is going to be just as great as this one has been.
You know, we talked about your last home meet here, but you do have the FCIACs next week. How good is that? How good a feeling how big are you prepared for that? How good is that going to feel?
I think we're like amazingly prepared, and after this win today, I think we're going to go in confident, and I'm just going to try to keep the girls on their best behavior, and that's all I can do, encourage them to do their best.
Well, thanks, Amanda, for joining us here on the HAN Network. Amanda Dobbin, who finished third, Callie Brandon, who finished second, and Drew Davis, who won today's girls' race here at Waveny Park. The first time the HAN Network has been here with live video at Waveny. Thanks for welcoming us, girls, and good luck next week at the FCIAC Championships. We'll be back. You're watching Cross Country, FCIAC Cross Country on the HAN Network. We'll be back after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Does buying a car lead straight to pay?
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Live FCIAC Cross Country on the HAN Network along with Dave Stewart. I am Josh Fisher. We're getting ready for the boys to start the final of 3 races that we're covering here today. To remind you, we're going to be back here in 8 days, next Wednesday, to cover the FCIAC Championships live here on the HAN Network. That will be our first pay-per-view event. It'll cost you $5 to watch the race from wherever. You can watch it here. You can watch it far away, whatever you want, but it'll be $5, and some of that money does go towards the FCIAC and its schools, so it's a great way to help support the local schools and help support HAN Network if you like watching these sorts of live sporting events on the air. Jay Egan, the athletic director, is grabbing the mic and ready to start off the boys. We have Westhill there in purple on the right. Central is next, moving from right to left from my view here. At Dave's view, then Norwalk, Trinity, and New Canaan. Is that Norwalk and Trinity over there, Dave?
Hard to tell since they're both wearing green. Might be Trinity, then Norwalk.
Okay. And they're off. Here, a little bit of a larger field, it looks like, than the girls had. Great shots, and just think next week those leaves are going to be. Here's a little bit of a delay start from our Periscope camera to give you another nice angle, and you can see Waveny House there. That's where we're standing. We're all the way to the left of that building. Dave, Eric, and I are.
Makes clouds make the place look a little ominous.
It does, yeah. It's like the opening to Batman. You know, a lot of people think this is a Batman. This is Wayne Manor from the Adam West series. It's not, but it's commonly that's a common misconception. Or maybe not that common, but I've heard at least 3 times.
It sure looks like it.
It does, no? It looks, yeah. As you can see now the boys we'll see them twice. They'll do 2 loops before they finish, not 2 complete loops, but the way it was explained to me, and watch it, I'll be proved wrong once we finally get out there, is they'll run up like the novice race, come back around, and then do the full loop.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh my God, I can't believe I was right. You can see now it's also different than we saw with the ladies running. There's more of a mixture of colors there at the head of the pack. As we look at them off in the distance, running among some nice
Still heavy on New Canaan up front in this one.
We have our Periscope operator, executive producer, CEO, Marty Hersom. He does everything. Not bad working for a guy who's willing to get dirty down there in the trails of Waveny. As you see, that's the rear of the pack you just saw on that shot there from A.J. Simonowski on that camera. Sean Saylor running another one of our cameras today. Kate Chaplinsky working the finish line. Bringing over our gas relay and some information to us. Marty Hersom on Periscope. Eric Gendron directing. He's Dave Stewart. I'm Josh Fisher.
New Canaan has a few runners that'll likely be towards the front. Now, Michael St. George has been their clear number one. He's a junior. Alex Orban, who's a sophomore, has done very well this year. He's been running second a lot for them. And Aiden Buck, who's a captain, senior captain, has been running third for them a lot of the year. And he's a veteran. He's been around for a few years. And we remember his older brother, Connor, playing football for New Canaan High School.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Connor Buck. You guys feel free to check that out over there. We have a couple of the younger New Canaan guys, New Canaan runners. Check it out. We're always happy to show off our equipment and our setup to various interest students. If you're ever looking to help us out, you want to intern with us, it's very easy. You could email video@hersomacorn.com. Eric?
We got New Canaan boys coach Bill Martin leading in the car.
Looks like we have a Westhill runner in the lead early on in this race. Still a big pack, more so than we saw with the girls running.
And they have a big group up front. A little bit of separation there between a second and third group.
So they'll do 5 kilometers. The girls did 4 kilometers in the race as the sun starts to, it's now just fallen below the opening of the, I'm going to call it a portico now, Eric, where
it's
we're
actually
standing.
a cool view going into the sun.
It really
The
is.
runners
It
running
really is.
off.
It really is a great view through here.
The boys' race will be very interesting this year in the FCIAC too, because your top two runners, the two we were talking about before, Alex Osberg from Darien at Stanford and Spencer Brown of Wilton, have both graduated, obviously, so it's kind of wide open up top. You've got Darien's got Armstrong Noonan, who was third last year. Brian McMahon's Eric Vanderels, a senior, who finished fifth last year, has looked very strong this year. So he's definitely a contender, and Ridgefield has a few people in there too, including Gabe Altop, who was fourth last year. So you've got a few people in there who surely are looking to move up.
Ridgefield's having a really good season.
Ridgefield's excellent. Darien's done well, even with Osberg having graduated. Then there's a few other people on some other teams here. This Stanford runner, Gilmar Barrios, who's done very, very well this year, kind of a name I'm not as familiar with.
But we'll certainly have a chance to meet all of those runners next week when we're here on Wednesday. Now, that race starts at 2 o'clock is when the first race begins in the FCIAC Championships. Normally the cross-country meets, like most high school athletics in Connecticut, start at 4 o'clock, but the championships start at 2. And is that just because it's a larger field? And
it's a larger field. It's a longer day because they are running they're running freshman races and novice races.
Right, yeah.
And, the interesting thing is, again, they'll start, we were talking about it before, but they start over by a water tower.
Right.
So they're spread out across the field there. And because they do come across the road, what they'll do is they'll have a couple of police officers at the road so they can stop traffic. So on the day of the race, Waveny Park is not the ideal cut through that a lot of people like to make it, cutting over from Lapham Road over to South Avenue. But they'll have it blocked off, and they come out. Now, it was a while ago they used to run the race where they would cut over the road twice, once over on one side, and where they still do, and then once further down. And they've kind of over the road twice, obviously. logistically that can be kind of a pain. So once they get over on this side, they're all set. You know, they're running most of the race on this side.
Wow. So we can see some of the boys who are in the lead are making their run off there in the distance. In the lead, and we're going to see them. They're now making their way into the woods, so they're going to cut around here and come back up and then do another. Is that then they do a half loop after that?
They do a half loop.
All right, so I had it wrong before. As I told you, I probably had it wrong.
Yeah, the course is different from the FCIAC course to the regular season course, which does make it difficult if you're used to one course. And then you've got to get used to, as a spectator, you've got to get used to another. And every now and then, they haven't had it for a few years, but they do tweak the course a little bit at times. So it's
which is good to keep it fresh for the kids, right? And not make it. You can't give New Canaan too much of an advantage. This is their home course, and it's hosted the FCIAC championships. What,
as far as I can remember,
for so long.
Yeah, it's been here forever.
Certainly predates you and me.
And the hill that Julian actually referred to when we had him out earlier is called Mosley Hill.
Mm-hmm.
That's for a former head coach of track and cross country, Bob Mosley, who is in the New Canaan High School Sports Hall of Fame, was very successful here, and they named the hill after him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him that it's a hill not.
Well, I'm sure he probably was pushing those kids up that hill, and
exactly.
It's not a bad thing to be known for. You can see some of the girls have made their way down towards the far end to cheer on their teammates, their male teammates, as they make it. As we see some of the more runners towards the rear of the pack.
That's another thing about track and field too, and cross country. You'll see people pull for each other. You know, it's not as say bloodthirsty as football or ice hockey or things like that.
Well, that was like just. Oh, sorry. Oh, there's a little periscope shot. There's a great shot of what the trails are like here at Waveny. Here comes some of the lead runners. Looks like all New Canaan.
And now if you see Marty Hersom in the woods with a camera.
He's working.
Please don't call the police.
These are great. I remember, particularly when I was in high school, we used to come over here and go hiking through these woods, and it just was a really nice, serene place. You almost can't tell. Particularly in the winter, you can. The Merritt Parkway runs just right alongside this.
Yes. Yep.
Some more of the early runners, front of the pack.
You can see too the course is fairly clean and now definitely dry from any earlier rain that might.
That's a good point. It is, and so we now wait for the male leaders to make their way. There's some more periscope shots from within the woods. If you're here and you want a T-shirt, stop by and say so. We got some HAN T-shirts. We're giving some to some of the younger New Canaan athletes who stop by our little home base. So when we saw that shot within the woods, it looked like there was a good group of New Canaan boys in the lead, Dave. Just like we saw with the girls, but not as big of a lead as the girls had.
Yeah, not as distinct as the girls. The girls had the three at the top, and then another big group come through a little bit later on. New Canaan does look in good shape to win, to sweep this meet with all those people at the front, unless something changes drastically.
Yeah, they sure do, and it would probably take something drastic, or but that's also the thing about distance running. It's when you make your move, so to speak. You don't want to start off giving all your energy. You certainly want to save that up. You start at a nice steady pace, keep that going. But then, as you heard one of the girls say, when you kick it, right? Is that that's the proper term? When you really kick it into that high gear.
You've got something left in the tank at the end. You saw that with Drew Davis, how she was right there at the end. They were running in the pack of three and kind of separated a little bit. Callie was with her for maybe about another 50 yards, and then Drew just had a lot of energy.
Really pulled away.
Back.
So there's a nice shot of the great lawn here.
that could
Waveny.
actually be very hopeful for New Canaan, because if Callie, who finished 16th last year and made the All-FCIAC second team, she's saying she feels good for to move up. If she's able to move up and Drew has that much of a kick left at the end and is able to, finish in that top 15 too, that could bode well for New Canaan finishing fairly high.
That's not A.J. Simonowski running across that field, is it, Eric? No, he's right over there. There was a guy in all black running across the field down there, and I thought there was some sort of problem, but it was the muscle behind HAN Network, A.J. Simonowski, a New Canaan native, New Canaan High School graduate. So we now wait for the leaders.
There is a lot of waiting in cross country too, unless you're able to get into certain areas like obviously Marty Hersom did. There is a lot of there's a period where there is a lot of waiting. This is usually towards the top, up in right in kind of the shadow of the Waveny Castle.
Okay, right.
This is a good spot to watch the FCIACs, because they do come through here several times.
And you're a little bit higher up too, so you can kind of see down
definitely.
those long, just like slight incline hills. So it does provide certainly a really good view up here as the sun really starts to set and get right in our faces.
And also at the end of the FCIAC championship, everybody meets over by the Waveny pool area, and they have an awards presentation. They do the all FCIAC teams.
So they announce it there right after the finish, right?
It's kind of cut and dry, like in a sport like cross country, whereas in football and hockey and soccer, things like that, they will it's voted on by the coaches for the award winners. In cross country, it's top 15 or first team, 16 through 30 are second team. So it's pretty cut and dry. That's it. Top 15, you're the first.
So that's also what you're running for. Even if you're not going to win, you want to run to be on the all FCIAC team, first team.
That's the thing. That's why Callie finished 16th last year. She was just on the cusp of that. But to do it as a freshman,
that's big.
That's
huge,
a big
right?
thing. That's a big thing. Freshmen don't always come in and make an impact. People like Hannah DeBalzi, who was I believe she was third her first year. I could be very wrong on that, but she's won the last 2 years, of course. But people like that come in, and but those are exceptional runners. Those are the people who can do it. Basically roll out of bed and run 5K
right,
or 4K.
Always impressive to see. You can see some of the other kids who have come out here have found other ways to entertain themselves, such as throwing a frisbee. Kind of poorly so far from what we've seen, but
they do it. Waveny actually has a frisbee golf course.
Really? Now, why aren't we covering that? Do they have an ultimate team at New Canaan High School yet?
This is a good question.
Right? I'd like to see Eric Gendron set up us covering ultimate frisbee. All right, so it sounds like they're making their way up the hill right now. The boys are, or about to make their way up the hill. You can see some the New Canaan girls walking away from one of our cameras.
Getting ready to cheer everybody on.
So now we have a little bit of there's probably a good 50 to 100 people here to watch this race. But I hear, Dave, I've never been here for the championships, that they get a lot more people here for that.
It's packed. Myself, if I don't get here too early, I'll go and park down by the high school and actually walk over because of the parking up here. It can be very, very dicey getting a spot.
We'll be here at early that morning because we'll be doing Coffee Break, our daily news show with Kate Chaplinsky. It's on at 11 every morning, weekdays. We'll be doing it live from here. It's on tomorrow morning at 11. Here they come. As you can see now here on the Periscope shot.
One runner, I can't really tell from here, but it looks like a New Canaan runner is really separated from the pack.
Here comes the lead car. And like Dave told you, there's one of the leaders who appears to have...
I believe that's Michael St. George there. Get a better view as he comes up the hill.
He's got about a 9 or 10 second lead, it looks like.
Yeah, they're about equally spaced out, the top 3 runners. Actually, the top 4.
Yeah. Is this the finish, or do we have another loop after this?
This is the finish here.
This is the finish. So that other loop we were talking about before apparently was down away from our view. Once again, remember, this is our first time covering cross-country at HAN, and we're getting ready for next week's championship open. Here comes Michael St. George, the junior, working his way towards the finish line. Now off of our camera, but it looks like he's going to take it. There he is with 17:47 finish. And then at 17:52, the next runner finishes, a non-New Canaan runner, it looks like. They don't wear the numbers, the bibs.
It makes it difficult, yes.
So it's a little tough for us to see who it is. And because of how our setup is, we have to shoot the finish line from the rear there to give us a better advantage to shoot everybody else.
Now we have a Westhill runner coming in that looks 5th there. So
We'll have that shot next week. That'll this is our practice run, and for the FCIAC championship, we will definitely have a much better shot of the finish line.
Yeah, we need those photo finishes from Eric Gendron. That's the voice of our director, Eric Gendron, who's done a great job setting this up. This is the largest sort of sporting event area-wise that we've covered here on the HAN network, and certainly been fun.
Looked to me from the finish there that might have been Aiden Buck coming in second. But
oh, really? Because he had a little black on top of his shirt.
Yeah,
Whoever finished second, is that?
You see that a lot. I've noticed that with New Canaan over the years, sometimes with different jerseys.
I see. Well, it does look like we don't have it completely confirmed, but Dave's fairly confident that Michael St. George won in 17 minutes and 47 seconds. If you're just tuning in to an HAN Network website, one of our many local news websites, or you're watching us on live.han.network, this is FCIAC Cross Country Racing here. We have 5 schools: New Canaan, Norwalk, Trinity, Bridgeport Central, and Westhill. And we're going to bring Eric Gendron on.
Yeah, we just got the winner. It is Michael St. George of New Canaan, who came across as the first place finisher, as Kay Czaplinski just confirmed.
Thank you, Eric K. Czaplinski, relaying information from the finish line. We're a good 150, almost 200 feet away from that finish line. As you can see, there's some of the New Canaan girls probably watching this meet right there on their phones.
Now, there is a map of the course for the FCIAC Championship, which is available on clubconnecticut.org.
Okay.
And I'll be putting a link to that on the FCIAC site as well. So it's available there if anybody, feels like having it with them when they're here.
That's great. We'll try to make that part of our coverage page too. We have a nice championship page that Mario Recupito has been working on in the digital department in our lovely offices up there in Shelton. There's Marty Herson making his way back.
He's moving a lot slower than the runners.
He's done a great job down there today with Periscope. It was Eric Gendron's brilliant idea to use Periscope to help us go where our wires cannot reach. And it was fun, and we'll have to see if during the championships we can maybe add another Periscope account or two to the mix. We're hoping to talk with Michael St. George of the New Canaan Junior, who won today's race shortly. A clean sweep for the Rams here. They won the novice race. That was Julian Mastrioni the sophomore won the novice race. Michael St. George won the boys race. And Drew Davis, the junior, won the girls race. And we believe Aiden Buck of New Canaan, senior captain, finished second in this boys race today.
And I think it was Alex Urban coming in third.
Okay.
Who's a sophomore.
Here comes Kate Chaplinsky with some information. She's been running around almost as much as these runners today. All right. As we await the winner, Michael St. George. Excellent. Michael, congratulations.
So it feels good to, I'm a junior. Leaders letting me just like run as fast as I can, and they don't mad or anything that I'm a little bit ahead of them, but they ran really well today. They were barely behind me, so they really do care about this team and want to succeed. So
great.
You know, with the FCIAC championships coming up next week, same park, different course.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge is that to adjust?
It's a bit of a challenge, but we have been running the course in our practices a lot to get a feel for it, and I have ran in the past. And obviously the terrain is pretty similar as well, so I still feel like I do have a little bit of an advantage over other runners because I know this course very well. So I definitely feel confident going into it.
Do you have a preference over the courses, like the regular season or the FCIAC?
I kind of like this course a little bit more because it's more in the woods. There's more trails, which I think is just a little bit more like peaceful than running in the open with all the parents cheering, and it's just that can be stressful. So
So you like the quiet?
Yeah, I do like the quiet.
Stay out of sight a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
congratulations,
no Michael.
Thank you.
That was a
Congratulations.
great job.
Thank you.
And I'll take the headset from you. We're going to bring on Aiden Buck, senior captain here on senior day, who finished second in today's race. We'll help you out here, Aiden. Congratulations. You guys had a good run today.
Thank you.
The three of you really led the pack most of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what helps a lot. When we have like a lot of kids out in front, a lot of New Canaan kids, we tend to push each other. Our coach stretches that a lot. Packing is like a crucial component of a team doing well together.
So how does it feel for you as a senior? This is your last regular season meet here. Any emotions today as you ran?
Yeah, I definitely see everything just paying off because I've been doing this since I was a freshman, and just watching everyone just achieve more and like knowing that their capability is well beyond what they probably conceived when they first signed up for cross country.
All right. Yeah, tell me about what Bill Martin's talked to me, your head coach, about what you guys do during the summer, like I believe 300 miles, things like that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, our coach encourages us that. I think what's really great about it is he tells us on our own time, just run 300 miles, and I think really what that does is it puts the effort in the hands of the kids, and it's no longer a coach telling kids you have to do this. Kids are putting like forth the effort by themselves.
You know, you're also as a senior captain. Some pretty good younger runners here. How do you feel? I know you're leaving the program pretty soon, but you know, how do you feel about what you're leaving it with?
I definitely feel great. You know, as we had Michael St. George. He's a better runner than me, and that's when I was a sophomore and a freshman. We really never imagined having underclassmen do as much as this year's had. Like Alex Urban, he's also a great runner. It's just they look up to kids who are older, who can do better. They see that, and that's what they want to achieve.
Okay. Hey, congratulations today. Great meet. And, thank you very much for coming on.
We'll see you next week at the FCIAC Championships.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're going to bring on Alex Urban, who Aiden just mentioned, a sophomore. So this is just like with the girls. We had a sophomore, a junior, and a senior finish in the top three. So a great day here for New Canaan.
Yeah.
Alex, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel pretty good. I don't know. When we were in the woods, there's actually a biker, and he turned off into me, so I fell. And so I was pretty frustrated with that. But Other than that, it was a pretty good race.
That sounds like a good thing or a decent thing to be frustrated about.
Yeah, but it was pretty nice because this was the first time that we kind of ran as a pack all together. It's usually Mike out in front and then me and Buck together, and then there's just pretty decent amount of space. But today was kind of a new day for us. Coach wanted us running together as a pack, so it was pretty good team bonding.
So that's a good practice for next week.
Yeah.
Right?
So no bikers on the track.
Hopefully no bikers.
We saw a little rain before the race happened. How was the course? Everything was dry? Was everything dry?
Yeah, the course was pretty good. You know, everything was intact. No one really was slipping around, and because the sun came out, the course dried up a bit, and it was really nice. We all ran great.
You have the pink headband on, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah. Well, my mom had breast cancer before, so I'm kind of wearing pink, and our team ordered a bunch of breast cancer headbands, so.
That's
today.
great. So you kind of had her in your thoughts too today as you ran.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's neat. Good for you.
Tell me about your preparation for FCIACs now. Different course. We were talking about this before, but just how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. So usually on our cooldown days, we kind of run the course to get a feel for it and see what it's gonna be like. And we have pretty high hopes for this race. You know, we came in 6th last year, and I personally didn't get to run on varsity last year, but I think we have a pretty strong team together this year, so we're pretty excited for the FCIACs.
Well, certainly. Well, congratulations,
Thank
Alex. You. Great run today. We're looking forward to seeing you and the rest of the Rams next week, along with the rest of the FCIAC here at Waveny Park.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
You're watching the FCIAC Cross Country here on the HAN Network. Dave and I are going to take a break, but we'll be back after this.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
To Waveny Park. Look at that beautiful shot there, Dave. Along with Dave Stewart, I'm Josh Fisher. Eric Jedrin is our director. We're going to wrap up our day here at Waveny Park, where clean sweep for the Rams.
Good day to finish and finish up the regular season going into the FCIACs.
Yeah. Julian Mastriani won the novice race to start things off. And then in the girls' race, it was Drew Davis, the junior for New Canaan, who came in first, followed by Callie Brennan, the sophomore. And on senior day, Amanda Dobin, one of the captains here, or one of the two captains for the Rams, finished third. For the boys, it was Michael St. George, the junior, who finished first for New Canaan. Coming in second was captain and senior Aiden Buck, and finishing third was Alexander Urban. We just spoke with all those kids, really nice kids, to have them come over here and see a beautiful race. Like we mentioned before, we're going to be back here next Wednesday. We go on air just before 2 p.m. with the FCIAC Championships. All 17 schools compete in that. It's going to be a large crowd, a lot of, right? And
it'd be a lot of fun. It's really just it's a big attraction. It's a main it's a main scene for the FCIAC fall season.
It really is, and the Rams couldn't ask for a better way to round out their regular season going into the FCIAC championship. So want to thank our crew today. We had AJ Simonowski out there on several cameras, Sean Chaplinsky producing and wrangling in our guests and relaying information from the finish line. And if I didn't mention it before, Eric Gendron, our wonderful director, who set this whole thing up. For Dave Stewart, I'm Josh Fisher. You've been watching FCIAC Cross Country on the HAN Network. Coffee break. Get your day started at 11 a.m. tomorrow with Kate. And football this Friday. Trinity at Ridgefield. A pair of 2-1 teams going at it in our game of the week. We'll be back here at Waveny Park next Wednesday. For everyone else, I'm Josh Fisher. Thanks for joining us here on the HAN Network.
The preceding has been a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and entertainment in Fairfield and Westchester counties.